Howdy, howdy ho. As it stands right now, anytime you change the difficulty in a game, the enemies just keep coming at you, and maybe they come a little harder, and maybe they come a little faster, but they just keep on coming. Quit being a pervert. I want this to change. I want this to be about enemy intelligence and AI. How it now mostly works is that when you change the game difficulty, the game changes the metadata. Enemies have more health, enemies do more damage, their AI subroutines are executed faster, or all of this with simply more enemies. Or in summary, changing game difficulty doesn't actually change game difficulty. It simply makes it more cumbersome and grindy. You might say, but that is harder, right? To which I would reply, no, it really isn't. You're simply just fighting or shooting more or dying faster. Let's face it, our games are starting to look really good now. As the current generation continues on, we're no doubt going to have our minds blown. Even indie games are now creating well-crafted worlds as our technology continues to improve. What hasn't improved, or at least marginally, has been how I deal with ever better looking enemies. And I know I'm not the only one that understands this. The reason some people are so multiplayer focused is because they want to go up against the one challenge they cannot surmount. Other humans. There is always someone better. So what am I rambling on about then? I want enemy AI to be adaptable. We have the CPU power now to run far more complex routines or subroutines, and I simply want my enemies to learn from me or at least apply improving combat techniques with increasing difficulty. I want Skynet. I'm not asking for my AI to be as good as a human. I'm just asking for there to be a far deeper tree of routines that means increasing difficulty is actually an increase in difficulty. In fact, at that point, you don't even need to increase the health, or increase the enemy damage, or have more of them. You see where I'm going with this, right? If we make our enemies genuinely smarter, then we don't need to change the metadata whatsoever, because now the AI will actually time its cover fire for its advancing teammates, or actually properly counter you more often. They will try to beat you with increased and expanded intelligence as you crank up the difficulty. Right now, I'd say the most shining example of where this can be applied is Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter has decently dynamic and fairly diverse AI routines. They have certain markers for behaviors and AI loops, but combined with increased speed, most top-tier monsters have very small openings in their AI and can be looped together seamlessly. Keep in mind, what I don't want is button reading. Fighting games are notorious for button reading as a difficulty factor, and I do not support that. I want my AI smarter, not inhuman. The closest example of where this was attempted was with the Forza series, as every Forza game after Forza Motorsport 5 makes use of drivatars. These use the behaviors of actual human drivers and adapt the AI to match their characteristics as AI opponents in offline races. I can say firsthand that I experienced varied AI drivers. Some would brake check me, others would sideswipe me, and some would simply outrace me. And that's what I'm looking for. Granted, at some point you might as well just play against humans, because some of the behavior from the drivatars was reflecting gamer behavior and would not have happened in real life racing at all. But even so, that is a current shining example of heading in the right direction for AI. Everything I've said in this video can be summarized very easily. I want to be able to scale a game's difficulty to my skill and not my patience. I don't want to shoot twice as often because my enemy has more health, or dodge twice as much simply because it hits that much harder. I just want my enemies to be more dynamic through better use of AI. Do you want Skynet smarter enemies? Let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see you next time on the Gaming 5. Did I just say she?